And we are back for my review of Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 8, Together Again. And unfortunately, the Martez sisters and Ahsoka are back in their prison cell, once again arguing. But I love during this argument the knowledge that Ahsoka drops. She says, "We each played our part in getting here," and it's so true. And there are so many times in our lives when we find ourselves in a situation like this and no one is willing to state that. Everybody has played a part in getting us here. Anyway, I thought it was a real Jedi moment for Ahsoka and shows her wisdom for even a young 16-year-old Padawan. Or should I say former Padawan. But as the ladies are trying to come up with a plan for an escape, they're actually taken for a meeting with the Pikes. And Ahsoka does something else very Jedi-like. She's willing to sacrifice herself to allow the Martez sisters to escape. Of course, without the Martez sisters around, she'll be free to use her Jedi powers as well. But why in such a dire need she couldn't use her Jedi powers with the Martez sisters around her? Well, that's an interesting question, and I think part of it comes from her just having shame for being part of the Jedi, and more specifically, how they really let down Rafa and Trace. That's something I don't think I really understood until now, and a lot of people out there that I see in the comments don't seem to be understanding either. So as Rafa and Trace are allowed to escape and Ahsoka is escorted back to her prison, it is revealed to us, the audience, that there is somebody above the Pikes that is controlling them and whom they fear greatly. Now, in the beginning when I created some prediction videos about Ahsoka and how this story arc was going to go, I thought that person was going to be Darth Sidious, but of course it turns out to be Darth Maul. Which makes a lot of sense, and something else that makes a lot of sense is that Bo-Katan is going to be the one to bring Ahsoka to Mandalore. And it's revealed at this point in the episode that she seems to have completed her mission and is keeping close tabs on Ahsoka and her whereabouts. So at this point in the story, the pace really seems to pick up as we're jumping between several different storylines. And we jump back to the sisters at this point and we find out that they're actually going to try and swindle the Pikes out of some of their own spice so that they can trade it for Ahsoka. I figured at this point that the sisters were going to try and rescue Ahsoka, and then that would fail and Bo-Katan would ultimately end up rescuing them all. But of course that's not exactly how it happens. So we're back with Ahsoka. She's escaped no problem using her Jedi powers, of course, and she finds some explosives luckily. She decides to do some good by destroying some of the Pike operations, and while she's planting those explosives, she oversees the Pikes having a discussion with Maul himself. But as this is all happening, Rafa and Trace are also stealing the spice from the Pikes to give back to the Pikes. This totally reminds me of something that Lando might do. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this part of the story thread. Rafa convincing these little alien creatures to give her spice was not very convincing, nor was it very realistic. I mean, how did the Pikes leave these little guys in charge? Well, as it turns out, they didn't. They actually have a Taskmaster Trandoshan, who Rafa manages to best in a fight by using her smarts. So before you know it, the sisters are back giving the Pikes their spice and trying to collect Ahsoka. And this is where the big lie comes out that Ahsoka, well, she's a Jedi, or at least a former Jedi, as she reveals to the sisters that she actually left the Jedi Order. And it's at this point that Ahsoka's explosives detonate, creating a diversion for them all to escape. Ahsoka, Rafa, and Trace all escape in their ship but are pursued by the Pikes. And for me, this was just some classic Star Wars fun. One of my favorite parts of this story arc takes me back to A New Hope with Han Solo and Luke Skywalker shooting down TIE fighters in the Millennium Falcon. And it was also great to see that the arguments had been put aside and Ahsoka and the sisters worked really well together to get through the space battle. And in the end, we're back on Coruscant, and the sisters are willing to forgive Ahsoka for being a Jedi. We have this sort of full circle moment where they mention that Ahsoka, well, she helped them out like Jedi are supposed to. So in the end, this brings us back to Ahsoka's philosophy of helping people in need. And I think for us, the audience, we are supposed to get that the Jedi, while they are trying to help the galaxy with the Clone Wars, but they can't be just trying to solve the big problems of the galaxy. There's lots of smaller, more intimate problems that they should be trying to address as well. And this theme continues with the arrival of Bo-Katan, who's looking for help from Ahsoka in dealing with Maul. And Trace literally says, "It looks like she needs your help like we did." And then Rafa follows that up with a comment that Ahsoka should go, it's what she's meant to do. Again, bringing us back to this idea that the Jedi should be helping other people, whether their problems are big or small. But hey, Star Wars fans, what did you think of this last episode of the story arc? What did you think of the story arc? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I'm Mike, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.